Hi, I'm Amy Sotis, and today I'm going to be discussing a super shake. And you may wonder what's different about a super shake than just your standard protein shake that people are really fond of these days. Well, I'm going to give you some few benefits. First of all, let's just establish a few things. You don't always want to cook a meal. You do want to eat healthy. Sometimes you really know that you don't have the time. And so one of the ways of doing your full nutrition for a meal is by just simply blending it all together, and you'll get all the nutrients that you need for at least a moderately filling meal that should tide you over your next cooked meal. I like to do super shakes a couple times a week. My son, who's trying to bulk up for football, he's doing them every single day. And I know people who are on the go and they're busy with work also find it handy to have a simple way to get all their nutrients in one cup. So one element of a super shake is you're going to have to start with a good quality protein powder. There are many out there. I know it's hard to differentiate and decide what's good and what's not. I would find that the best source is the cleanest source. If you can recognize and understand the ingredients on the label of the protein powder, that's a great place to start. Some people are very fond, as I am, of a vegan version, which is pea-based protein, because they might have a lactose intolerance or aversion to dairy products, because the other main category of protein powders is whey. There's also soy out there, and I don't typically recommend anyone do the soy option because soy can actually have a hormonal effect in your body. So since we have a proliferation of such good choices, I would always recommend either the whey version or the vegan version, the pea protein. So in today's demo, the one that we're going to be doing is a brand called Garden of Life, and their protein powder has roughly 20 grams of protein per scoop, about 110 calories, as well as probiotics and some very good other vegetables that are already in the protein powder. So I feel that's a win if you can have some vegetables as well as the protein source in your powder and the probiotic component. So I'm a huge fan of probiotics in general, and if I can get a serving or a dose, if you will, of probiotics from my protein shake, then again, I'm getting my good bacteria in my gut to grow, and I'm hopefully eliminating or reducing the bad bacteria from overcrowding out the good bacteria, which is a theory of probiotics. So the protein powder I choose always has good probiotics as well. Another factor I haven't mentioned yet, but I want you to be cognizant of, is you have to like the taste, and that's different for every person, right? So feel free to just buy small portions while you're trying to figure out what your preferred taste is. I like vanilla. There's also chocolate out there commonly, and there's also unflavored, unsweetened. Speaking of sweeteners, that's another thing about protein powders that you want to really watch your label for. Some of the protein powders out there have artificial sweeteners, and most all of them will have some sort of natural sweetener like stevia or monk fruit are two examples. You know, that's your own preference as well. I like to keep my calories down in these super shakes and add the calories from a good fat source such as an avocado. So I try to keep my protein powder as clean as possible and as low sugar as possible, because you can always add more sugar to make it sweeter, or add a banana or more fruit where you're going to have that natural sweetness, rather than having your protein powder have a lot of sweetness just from what's been already added by sugar. So roughly, I would like to say you should look for a protein powder that has the 20 grams of protein, has between 100 and 150 calories per scoop, and that's going to be the main portion of protein in your super shake. As for the other ingredients, we're going to go with chia seeds for a good fat source, a half of an avocado if you're doing a single serving for your vitamin E, and all the other health benefits of avocado are well documented, and I'm a big fan as well. And if you're thinking, well, this is supposed to be sweet, this is like a smoothie, right? But don't worry, you won't be able to taste an avocado-y or guacamole type taste, because it's actually a very bland food. So that'll just blend right up. It'll make it creamy as well. So we're not doing heavy milk products here. This is actually going to be a vegan shake. And so we're going to use an almond milk or an oat milk. You can also choose macadamia nut, really any of the unsweetened nut milks. If you're not averse to dairy, you can of course use and substitute regular cow's milk, but for our case, we're going to make it vegan and have a few less calories as well in the overall total of the shake. So if you're not concerned about that, then feel free to use regular milk. Additionally, we're going to use a banana because we like creamy shakes. We don't want it to feel too choppy or icy, and our blueberries are going to be our main fruit source. This is a wonderful opportunity to say, but use any berry you want. And if you have some berries that are looking a little old in your fridge, as long as they're not moldy, of course, throw them in. They all will blend up nicely. And you can do strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, or blueberries. I'm using blueberries today because I feel they blend the best, and maybe you don't want all the seeds that raspberry and blackberries and sometimes strawberries can kick out. Finally, we're gonna add some spinach because green is good. And if you can get a little extra vegetable into this, this actually makes it more of like a meal replacement than just say a snack. And we're gonna add a little monk fruit sweetener for taste. And if you really don't like sweet things, you could omit that because the banana is gonna and the berries are gonna contribute some sweetness as well as some in the protein powder because that one is flavored with stevia. If you need that palate pleasing, sweetness, then you add monk fruit, you add stevia just a little bit. I think a teaspoon or less is probably good for most people for a single serving shake. Finally, you want to have a good high-speed blender. We're going to use a blender that has the ability to chop up ice well, and since we're using frozen blueberries, it also has to have the power to blend those up. The liquid quantity is where you can make your own call how thick or how thin you like your shake. We're going to make ours pretty thick so that it feels filling. If you're less concerned about that, because this is kind of just a shake or maybe a before or after workout, then feel free to use more liquid or less based on your preference and your needs at the time.